Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again. Today I want to talk about this multi-grip bar from Archon, which you may have seen on my Instagram because I tend to post a lot of the things I get on there early, and then eventually I will get around to making a YouTube video on most of them, but in some cases they never make it to YouTube, so make sure you check out my Instagram page. It's linked in the description if you want an update on pretty much everything I ever buy or get sent. Now, that being said, with this bar, I have a lot of thoughts on it, but before I get into it, let's just go over the specs really quick. The Archon Multi-Grip Barbell is a specialty bar made to add variety and versatility into your training. The specs of the bar are as follows. It's commercial grade steel, 82 inches in length, 31 pounds in weight, 14 inches of loadable sleeve length that measure 2 inches in diameter, 4 grip positions including close neutral, wide neutral, and angled, which when the bar is flipped provides a different angled grip, and the grips are 28 millimeters in diameter and knurled for better gripping. It is rackable and has been tested with over 500 pounds. So there you go, the Archon multi-grip bar. You might not think there's a lot to it, but there's a lot more than meets the eye in my opinion, and it's one of the reasons I consider this one of the best bars for the buck that are out there, especially when you're looking at specialty bars. Now, first of all, I want to say a specialty bar doesn't have as many uses as, let's say, a good all-around power bar, which is perfect for squatting, benching, and deadlifting. I know that. That's where most of your money should go. And that being said, speaking of money, most of us don't have the cash to just buy a ton of specialty bars because, again, they're only used for certain purposes. And especially if you take a look at some of the most popular specialty bars, like, for example, my Elite FTS Safety Squat Bar or my Texas Deadlift Bar, they're all great bars, but they're not used that often, and they're very pricey at over $300 each. This particular multi-grip bar from Archon comes in at $75. Yes, $75. Now, don't let that price fool you because there are other bars out there from well-known quality brands like Rogue and Elite FTS, which will cost you 4 times that much, as well as there's others from affordable companies that make bars that are priced similar to this Archon bar. But this bar really stands out in terms of the quality and what you get for it. So let me just kind of briefly talk about some of that stuff. First of all, as I mentioned already, it has 3 different grips. Technically, if you want to think about it that way though, there are 4 if you just flip this around because the angles are now different when you're pressing. But the grips here are really nice. Speaking of the grips, as I mentioned, they're knurled, and that's not always the case with a lot of other bars on the market. A lot of times you just have this plain black matte powder coating, which can look pretty nice, and in some other bars does not look very nice, but it's very slick. So if you're trying to get a grip on it, the knurling here really helps. Now, it's not a very aggressive knurl, but it doesn't need to be. It's enough to get the job done in that case, which is really nice. Now, speaking of the black matte powder coating I already talked about, as I said, it's really well done on this bar, but what's really cool about it is when you start to look at the sleeves, it's not powder coated, which is typical in this space for most specialty bars. So this one actually has what looks like maybe a plated or chromed finish, which is very nice. And not only does it look nice, but it holds up really well too. And that's one of the problems when you just use normal powder coating and are putting plates on and off. The sleeves tend to get eaten up. For example, take a look at my Elite FTS Safety Squat Bar and the powder coating it has with a clear finish on it. It was never meant to be. It came off almost the first time that I used it. So this bar looks really nice and it's really functional in that instance too. Speaking of the sleeves, it also comes with these small rubber washers that affix to the end. So again, it's not banging against it, so it helps protect your plate some. And speaking of plates and sleeves in that same sentence, the great thing about this bar is that it actually fits my competition style plates on it, which again is not always common for specialty bars. Sometimes because of the tight hole tolerance on those competition plates, they don't always fit on all of the bars, which would render some bars, in my case, useless, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to make sure I went with a bar that could fit those, and Archon one does. So at $75 with the grips, the knurl, the finish, and especially in this case, the welds as well. If you take a look at the welds on this thing, they're really well done, which again is not very typical for specialty bars and not very typical for more price affordable bars. And that being said, even though you do have to pay the shipping fee of roughly, I'd say probably $20 to $40 depending on where you're located, this thing comes packaged extremely well and is not going to be dinged or chipped or have any other damage to it, which again, unfortunately, is very common when you talk talk about specialty bars and or more affordable bar options. So for me personally, I think this is a great quality bar. I've been getting a lot of use out of it, especially as an accessory movement for my pressing days. So for my close grip bench press, it can also really help if you have shoulder issues because of the way that it has the grips. And again, depending on where you want to put your hands here, it really alleviates a lot of the stress that a normal straight bar may cause. And again, because the price point is so affordable, it's a nice way to go ahead and invest in a specialty bar and not break the bank, especially if you have a significant other who gets mad whenever you buy barbells. Not that that's my case, but if that could be you, this would be a good fit for you. So I'll go ahead and link this in the description box below if you're interested in picking one up. If you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section below. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.